Don't fuck with your picture.
I was thinking handsome, but I'll take feisty. No, it's a good publicity picture.
Oh, good. Good to know. Thank you. I missed the hat. I can't find the hat.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
I'm choosing to ignore the cuts and bumps and bruises. I'm cruising through these haters, leave them looking stupid. They foolish if they think they'll ever hear my conclusion. I'm through with all these part-timers and their excuses. I'm bruising eagles left and right every time I do this. I'm shooting for the top, no I'll never settle where you did. The future's in my hands, my grip will never lose it. My crew is ready to obtain the absolution, removing any doubt that we was ever fooling.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another killer episode of Still Toking with.
Is your chair so short?
What?
You're so low.
Oh, sorry. should I raise my chair? If I could find them. Never mind. I can't find the button here. We'll just do this. Is that
there
better?
You go.
Nice.
Is that better?
Nice.
Now you can see my handsome face, all of it.
Yeah.
Pain in my ass. Anyway, you already know who I am. At least I hope you do. 7 seasons in. The voice in my head is here again. Unfortunately, he's not on fucking vacation this week, but that's okay. No, actually, I'm excited about tonight's show. We've had some really interesting shows this year, and this is going to be one of them. Let's just leave it at that. I'm just leaving it right there. I'm leaving it right there. The flashy one.
That's I.
That is you. I wasn't going to say your name because if they don't know who you are by now, well, then, you know, they've been living under a rock.
Yeah, I've just lived it the last 53 years and they don't know who I am by this point. Hi, folks. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm excited about the show, too. I love all of our guests. Don't get me wrong. Everybody is a good time on this show. But when we get people who do investigative journalism or spirituality or people who want to bring their truth forward, somehow I have just a little bit extra fun. And we're going to have that today. And that's all I'm going to say about it, except to say hello to my comrade in arms. And he's got the arms for that, Jeff Holman.
The voice in the head.
Hey, yeah. I'm scared.
Oh, you found the blur button.
Yeah, I did. I like it. Why? You don't like it?
No, I like it quite a bit, actually.
It was messing with my eyes, but go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good.
All right. Well, I
No,
was a
no,
little
it's good.
nervous about doing this show tonight for a couple of reasons. Number one, because there's 3 fucking Jeffs, and I'm going to get really goddamn confused. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I have no idea what might come out of my mouth.
Shit.
So everybody just be forewarned. There might be nothing coming out of my mouth. And just for Mr. Mark, there might be shit coming out of my mouth tonight too.
You're such
Sorry,
a good
Jeff.
friend. Such a good friend to me.
So I couldn't resist. But let's bring in the third Jeff, Mr. Jeff Brown. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm just so happy to be in the presence of America right now. I can't even tell you. Just the 3 of you. You're so idiosyncratic and so uniquely organized, and so I was just in the U.S. for a number of months, finishing this first stinking a book and getting in that whole process, and I really, really miss the uniqueness of the American being. It really gives me a ton of hope, and all. It can go in a lot of different directions. I totally get that, but
Yeah.
But I generally really, really value it a lot, and I'm so grateful to have grown up very close to a border with 340 million unique idiosyncratic characters. It's just it's something.
I like the word idiosyncratic.
It doesn't mean idiot. Don't worry, Jeff.
No. It's quite
No. I know that.
But it generally doesn't mean.
In his case, it might tonight. We haven't determined
Well, we'll
that
see.
yet.
We'll see what happens.
I was leaning
Right.
more towards the syncratic side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To all our viewers that are watching us live, that are going to watch this later, or even on the podcast flip of this, Mr. Jeff Brown is coming to us from a little place outside of Ontario, Canada. No, Toronto.
Mhm.
Toronto. Sorry, I said Ontario because the Bruins always kick the shit out of Toronto. And
Not all the time, but sometimes.
most. And I apologize for that now. Not really.
Yeah. They do. They have in the playoffs when it matters. The last decade or so, that's for sure.
Right. But we're not here to talk sports tonight.
Okay.
Or maybe we are. I don't know. I don't know what I know what we're here to talk about.
We're going to talk
So-
about this book, aren't we? A little, at least.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
So Jeffrey M. and the
Yes.
other Jeff that's not me. Did you have a chance to browse the PDF at all?
Yes.
I did have a chance to browse it.
Oh, okay, cool.
quickly. I actually spent more time on your website and, believe it or not, on your Facebook page, reading all of the little quotes and all that kind. Because that's I just usually do that to get a quick overview of the guest, but I got trapped on your page scrolling and reading all of these little things that you say, and it was very intriguing.
Oh, interesting.
It was very, very intriguing. I actually wrote a couple of them down just for my own knowledge because I liked what you had to say.
Oh, good. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, quotes are my thing. I mean, if I owned a store, it would be called Quotes Are Us. I mean, that's just what I do. The shadow band that I wrote about, which has been building over the 5 years. So you might look at a quote there now that has 14 shares, and 4 years ago had 2,400 shares. That's the gap. So I don't feel very happy when I go on that page anymore, which is very upsetting because I loved writing on Facebook. It was just like the perfect forum for my quippy style, and a quick way to influence behavior. At some point, because Meta would sort of show you how many shares in a week and how many people you reached, and And it turns out in like some 8-year period, we reached over 1 billion people. I mean, I'm sure a number of them are the same people over and over, so it's probably not exactly accurate, but it was really just a wonderful place to go as a creative. You know, it felt like it was your own. I don't know if you guys had this experience in the beginning on the personal page. It was like you had your own room finally. You know, you could poke people to come over. You could block people to not bother you. I mean, and Big Daddy was nowhere to be found. And then when they suddenly made changes, we were all like, who the fuck are you to make
Right.
They did it so brilliantly. They sucked us into this vortex so brilliantly that you really felt like you had your own world until, of course, we came to realize.
Right. Well, that's what it's funny you bring that up, because that was one of the things that I was noticing and looking at, because I mean, you've got close to 500,000 followers just on, on your Facebook page. You gained one tonight with me. But I was looking at the shares and the likes of your recent ones, and it's like 5, 7.
Yeah.
So that tells me about that shadow banning.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's going on, and it's to me, I mean, that's an infringement of rights. I mean, you can't, but they do it.
Well,
they just don't let it go out. They don't.
Right.
Let it go out
And
until
we've
people
run
see
into
it.
the same
Yeah.
situation. We've run into the
It's
same
happened to us.
situation with the style of guests. So like on Facebook, this show, because of the category, we won't get a ton of views on Facebook, but it's okay because we have 32 other platforms that this goes to worldwide simultaneously.
Yeah.
So
that's the key. You were smart enough to do that, and I wasn't smart enough to do that. But I think in this situation, given that sort of Mark Carney, who's the current Prime Minister of Canada, has basically stated and dissociated from the U.S. and established basically they've gone to war with the U.S. in a certain sense. I believe that Zuckerberg or whoever at Meta is doing this on behalf of the Canadian politic is actually an act of treason from a U.S. perspective. I really believe that's what's crossed over here. The question is, who's going to enforce that? I mean, my whole story is not about trying to establish wrongdoing. It's all over the book. It's everywhere. It's well documented. It's who's going to enforce it. And that, and to me, that's the great app. I mean, in Canada, it's all fallen apart. I mean, it's beyond anything. But even in the US, I mean, I went to the SEC. They're silent. They're supposed to be silent. I've submitted everything to them. I've gone to the FBI quite recently. That's why I was down there submitting the US portion, wanting US investigation on that portion. We'll see what happens with that. But jeepers creepers, it does often seem to be you need to know the right people in order to even get something looked at on an investigative level, which is just a whole new learning. I hadn't expected that.
Right. Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways they just don't consider it worth their time. I think that they just look at things as this isn't important enough.
And I think Meta just became indispensable to everybody, including left and right politics. I mean, I think indispensable. I learned this as a Jewish guy when I was in my 20s, that there were certain women that were very good. I was in law school, and they would sit in certain places and become connected to me. And they were very good at becoming indispensable in my life. Where my keys were, where I left my bag, where I left my coat. And I understood this was very effective. And I think Meta has just become, nobody wants to tear it apart. I mean, Josh Hawley wants to tear it apart, but you need more than Josh Hawley to be focusing on that. And, this guy has no business and no right to do any of these things. I mean, the effect of this can cause people to have heart attacks and die. This is how we make our living, for God's sakes. It's not a game, but there's an indispensability problem. And there's who's motivated. So this is the real question. Who nowadays is motivated enough to take on these monopolies that aren't even supposed to exist in the American zeitgeist? This whole thing doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, from what I can see, scrolling when I do, they don't have to tear it apart because they're pushing things out there and the people themselves are tearing it apart. It's all about separation from what I can see.
Oh, it's a whole divide and conquer algorithmic consciousness.
Totally, 100%.
Oh, look what's happened. I mean, my God. I mean, we saw it when we go to Starbucks and a hot couple would be on a date looking at their phones and not at each other. So we already knew something strange was happening. But now it's so far beyond that where there's no center anymore. You either love Donald or you hate him. Everybody wants to kill everybody. And of course, we know the puppet masters benefit like this, like never before. I try to come in as a centrist. Nobody even knows what I'm talking about. You can't agree with one thing that Donald says and disagree with another thing. They don't know what to do with that. That's a level of consciousness that people can't inhabit anymore because of the algorithmic manipulative divide and conquer consciousness that we're stuck in. That's going to lead to 347 wars in the next 18 months. And I think it's really a big part of it.
Right. I think you and I were about the same age. You were born in 62, I believe.
62.
I was 63. And just in the last couple of decades, what I've been seeing is separation of open-mindedness. People's minds are getting more closed as the years go on. They don't want the outside influence that doesn't fit what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Where, I've always believed that your mind is, the proverbial like an umbrella. It only works when it's open.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think we're losing that in today's society where it's almost becoming city gang-like.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
It's sad to watch. It's sad to watch.
It's gnarly. It's gnarly. It's deeply unpleasant and yet at the same time addictive. Which is like
exactly.
Bad combination. It's like a bad combination.
So that's a great segue. Addictive. Let's talk about how people can get addicted to your book.
Nice segue.
Explain to our viewers. I mean, the three of us had a chance to browse the PDF for the show and get some questions and basis. But explain to the viewers and listeners a little bit about your story
with this. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was doing this writing and with the quotes, and my quotes caught fire with the left and eventually to some extent with the right too, but mostly with the all so-called now. I don't know what any of it means now, but the so-called progressive left. Sophie Trudeau was given some of my books by somebody I knew. And this was sort of a moment where I ignored my intuitions in the early part of the book.
Right.
And I let my friend pass the books with her seemingly good intentions and all the rest of it. And then Sophie Trudeau posted a quote from one of my quotes books called Ascending with Both Feet on the Ground. So once I have a bunch of popular quotes, I make a book of that. And that was the first of the quotes book. And I felt this compulsion or this for a number of reasons I detailed to sort of connect and get into contact with them to see if I could help them with volunteer writing. I mean, they were talking about gender equality. They were talking about healing and trauma. They were talking about everything I was writing about. I never thought ever I'd see a world leader talking about these things. So I just got excited about it and ignored my intuition yet again. Imagine sort of Judd Hirsch on your right shoulder telling you to stop. And who can say no to Judd fucking Hirsch, right? But I did. I did. It's like 51% fuck you, Judd, and 49% I didn't know you're right, but I guess I have to suffer. So I reached out to her to see if she needed some help with writing. And right then she needed help with a piece for the Toronto Star. It's almost as though I had been summoned, so said Judd Hirsch. Or
maybe even set up.
Yeah.
These people they're not smart in the individuated, unique, polyphrenic, multi-aspected sense I was referencing earlier, but they are very good at knowing how to manipulate outcomes. So I was there. It was almost like they had studied my personality and knew I would generously say, no problem, let's do it. But it started with sort of flirtatious emails, and I was uncomfortable, but I kept sort of putting it away, for the greater cause, just for the greater cause. And then eventually Sophie Trudeau, the Prime Minister's then wife, or maybe still wife, I don't know what's really true about that, but she invited me to their house to have lunch and to interview me on camera about some of my ideas about gender stuff. And that's when things began to shift, when she began to share some things that were not things that should be shared with a citizen, unless the citizen was never going to disconnect, which is not realistic. So, and then, she did that and I stayed connected, but I was uncomfortable and there was future faking. I learned new terms, fawning, future faking through this experience. And then I made efforts to disconnect. And after the second effort, somebody came on my phone to sort of scare me off from handing a binder of emails that I wanted to hand to a well-known author whose name I won't mention in Toronto, who's a friend of mine. And I just completely freaked out, partly because I'm Canadian, where I'm not American. We don't expect this stuff. We were conditioned to trust our government. It's like monarchistic up here. That's why they've gotten away, Trudeau and Carney, with so much now. It's not like in the US when you drive through any state and they're all hanging over the bridges with the various signs and activisms and all the rest of it, one sign after another, one bridge after another. It's amazing. We don't have anything like that here. The truckers did that and they threw them in jail. So, when this happened, it was shocking to me. First of all, because I'd helped them. And I thought, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. And then it just built from that point, as the book details, I think, in a very well-documented way. Meta gets involved, Amazon gets involved, the shadow banning on various levels get involved, 2 police obstructions of initiated investigations, and last week yet another form of obstruction of that. And it has become what I didn't realize, because none of it made sense to me. Why are you going to so much trouble for one guy because he knew a few things? But now that I understand that the long game for Trudeau and certainly for Carney was to communize and jihad-esque Canada, which is exactly what's happening now. It's almost consolidated. That because he had a minority government and I had details that would have made the Canadian populace uncomfortable, because the media never tells them anything here. Now I understand why, as I continue to push back, they continue to push it to the next level until you end up with a 336-page book of, hundreds and hundreds of details of what I call techno-terrorism, funneling, invisibilities. I mean, they've helped me to create all kinds of language, which I love to do, but under the most uncomfortable circumstances.
Right.
I was quite surprised while I was scrolling through it. I didn't find any recipes.
No, that's listen,
Okay. That's the funniest thing you've ever said on the air.
Oh, that's
Congratulations.
good.
That was good. That was good. So there was no good Canadian bacon recipes or anything.
No,
well, then what the hell? I don't want to read it. I thought it was like a cookbook.
I know that really. Maybe I will actually write that book. What's so interesting is that cover is almost exactly, and it was an AI cover from the publisher, is almost exactly the kitchen in the Trudeau household, where I received all my information. And I don't know if you read the passion fruit scene. If we ever made it into a documentary, it would be called Passion Fruit, because of the moment when she had the passion fruit in her hand. Early in our interaction, it was like almost right after I got in the house. I think it was in the hallway or just into the kitchen, but she kept looking at me for guidance and said, "Why can't he rub this passion fruit down my body? Why can't he eat this passion fruit off my body when he comes home from work? Why must he go in the other room and read science fiction, Jeff? Why? Who knows what he's doing in the other room? Why must he go in the other room and read science fiction, Jeff?" So that was like basically my introduction to the Trudeau home, was the wife with the passion fruit living in a gilded cage, trying to help me to explain to her why it is that her husband won't lick the passion fruit off her body when he comes home from work, as though he's just coming home from work, when he runs a G7 nation.
Did you tell her to try bacon?
They know from bacon. They're French Canadian. They know from they know all about. I don't think it would. I don't think Ben would have done it. Now that I understand sort of more of what I believe to be the story of that marriage, and the story of just these two to me, their great secret that both of them are hiding is that neither of them are particularly unique or interesting. And they put a lot of energy optically into making people not realize these are not people who ever would have in the heart of a meritocracy, risen to this level of public awareness.
Well, good. You're giving me a segue because I wanted to ask this question.
Yeah.
Because you know about these things. Have you ever noticed that when there is family politics, a father and then a son or a daughter or a cousin or offspring, or somehow it never ever works out well, going all the way back to the days of Rome and the Trudeau family, the Bush family, people who hated the Roosevelts, the Roosevelt family. It just it doesn't work. And I agree with you that had Pierre not been what he was, we wouldn't even be talking about these people.
No, Justin Trudeau would never have become a leader. I mean, Canada's easier to fool than the US, that's for sure. But he would never have risen to this level. He was pretty much a lost boy in terms of his path. He was teaching at a school, I think, private school part-time in BC. The story is that he was fired because he was involved with an underage student and maybe her mother. I believe he went to engineering college at Concordia in Montreal, and I think didn't get past a year. I believe was taking care of his dad or his maybe dad, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. But, if you think about it in terms of, I don't know where you guys come from, but I come from difficult circumstances. So to me, everything I've become, I guess we have some inherent encoded potentials for sure, but I had to work hard to actualize all these various aspects. And it takes everything, and it still takes everything, in the heart of a meritocracy. So if you imagine, let's say I had a kid, I wouldn't want to put my kid through that. And if you don't go through that, you don't become that. So it's just on the most basic level. It's very rare, as Jeffrey said. Only a few times have I ever met the youngers of brilliant people, and they're even more brilliant. That's what you'd like to see happening, but that's not happening, and it certainly didn't happen in this case. And Justin's brilliance is, and I'm not saying it in the most affirming way, is his ability to optically or through silence, the poker face thing that some men know how to do, to sort of keep people hooked. But what happened in Canada, you may not know this, but before Carney showed up, and it was all sort of set up to happen like this, I think his popularity level was around 15%. He is said to be, I believe, the most hated prime minister in Canadian history. I don't think he should be wandering on his own around Toronto, Calgary, or even Vancouver streets. So the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, that this was really all about. And what you're talking about, Jeffrey, is true. I found that with businesses I've dealt with, even quite recently, that the ones who get it handed over to them, they just don't have the ethics. They don't know what it's like to come from nothing and then to not want to desecrate someone else who comes from nothing. When you've gone through that, you have a lot more compassion for what people go through and for what people become than if you've just been floating around on somebody else's accomplishments.
I look at that as, in a lot of ways, at least, what I see here in the U.S., it's become a world of entitlement, not of earning.
Yeah. They're missing so much. The feeling you get when you struggle to soul shape, to shape yourself into something you're meant to become in this lifetime. If you haven't had that experience, I can see why people keep acting out idiotically. But when you've had that experience, it changes you. It's Virginia Satir said at the end of her life, the great sociologist, she was said to have said, "I did what I came here to do." And I just think if we were all on that trajectory, we'd be living in a very different world.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem is nobody knows what they came here to do.
Well, that's right. So that's why I've got to build my encodings model and get off this political gig for a while, because I wrote a book just before this called "Where is God in All of This?" A conversation, because I said to my wife and to other people, I said, "What the fuck? How did this happen?" And I was trying to make sense on it, encoded on a cellular level. Why am I in this after spending so many years getting away from this, leaving criminal law, working in the direction of becoming a guy writing quietly in the night, trying to craft language. And then here we are with this old warrior path of mine. And in that book, really, I brought through the encodings method, which is, I wouldn't call it a religion because it's not the right word for it, but we spend a lot of time looking up to God and looking away from the self to find our answers. And because there are very few models to teach us to find that which is encoded within us, and I think that's what we need to be, have sort of encodees or encoders roaming the plains of the world, not trying to push you in the direction of becoming a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, but to find out who you are and why you're here, because you'll be more gratified, you'll be more empowered, and you'll save the bloody world. This is the problem with the extreme left. They destroy freedom. They destroy the idiosyncratic nature of individuation. They destroy that beginnings of the American dream. Well, then who's going to save us? There's no genius anymore. All there are a bunch of generic communists, for God's sakes, under the control of. And that's why I love America. Because, I mean, look at Jeffrey. Jeffrey Mark.
That's I.
Huh? The what?
I said, that's I.
Yeah, that is, I mean, look how uniquely organized you are, visually even, right? Which absolutely delights me. If you're living in an environment where that's discouraged, where what's really encouraged is for you to be generically looking like everybody else, you're not going to develop your own ideas. You're not going to be nothing.
No, but Jeff, I wasn't brought up in an environment where my being this was supported.
No,
I had to literally abandon where I came from to present this because it wasn't supported. It wasn't liked. In fact, it was stepped on.
Right.
And I think it's also very important in this conversation. And also to remind all four of us, we don't talk about current politics on this show, that there's a huge difference between spirituality and religion. And I think spirituality for each individual person is tremendously important. And each of us has the freedom, complete freedom, to develop our own spirituality, to develop what our belief system is, and hopefully have the backbone to stand up for what we believe.
Right.
And I agree with you. I grew up at a time, Jeff with a J and I, our one of our biggest heroes is John Kennedy. And I don't see anyone out there that I can point to and go, oh, I will follow him or her. There is no one I want to follow. There is no one out there I would like to lead me. So I'm leading myself.
Follow me. I got a good book.
I was just going to say, that's not what you said on the phone yesterday.
I understand.
I said follow.
Sorry.
You're confusing your F words here. Come on now.
Sorry. I just had to throw some light into that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, Jack Kennedy said happiness is full use of one's powers. I love that quote. I just love Jack Kennedy's quote. Happiness is full use of one's powers. I mean, this is a kind of, I think.
Why do you think, Jeff Trudeau, that so few people today seem to know who they are or what their powers are?
Yeah.
I could talk for half an hour about this.
Sure. It's important.
But people, my own stepchildren and grandchildren, they don't even know what they have inside of them. They don't want to develop it. What's the easiest, softest thing for me to do? Ask nothing of me. Telling the truth, I'll do it if it's good for me. Otherwise, forget it. I was talking to the business of show, my business. I was talking to an extraordinarily talented younger performer who wanted some advice because I'm older. And I gave it to this person, and he completely denied, put aside, pushed away any solution to any problem or any idea that might make him grow out of fear of change, out of fear of, and it's like, you're talented and good looking and smart and nice. And well, no, I'm not. Well, if that's how you feel about yourself, maybe you're not.
Well, their self-concept stuff is huge. Shame is huge. All of those internalizations, negative internalizations, You can't imagine yourself something magnificent. And it is all mixed up, because the patriarchal part of the spiritual world, we could spend forever on this. I wrote a book about this. They basically,
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
they basically discouraged people from developing a healthy ego, right? You were a more enlightened being if you were egoless, which makes no sense. You can't function in the world there. So I make a distinction between the healthy and the unhealthy ego. But then people would go into therapy to try to bolster their self-concepts. Then they go into the Sangha spiritually and be told, don't take yourself so seriously. The humble path is the path to God. So we're confused. I think the American vision of self-actualization is really important. It's something I don't want to ever see go away. I would just call it soul actualization, because I don't really distinguish the self and the soul so much from each other in certain ways. But I think in the old days, there was spaciousness to inhabit these questions. There may not have been encouragement, because most people were in a survivalist mindset in the old days, the parents, the grandparents, but there was space. There's no space anymore. And now they're have become addicted to these horrifying so-called smartphones, which is a diversionary cliche. There's nothing smart about them, that destroy people's lives. And now they've become whatever it is on a consciousness level. They're being led in the direction of it on a moment-to-moment basis. And the algorithm, as we discussed earlier. And so, the only reason I can keep coming back, I needed this horrible event to bring me back to those old questions I used to ask about who am I really? Why am I here? What's my soul's journey? Because as someone with over 700,000 followers between the pages, and very active, like teaching writing courses, 500-600 students for years, it was active and was very, very, luckily I had sort of figured out some part of who I feel I was. But if I hadn't, there's no way in that landscape that I could have done that work. You almost need to get sick or deal with these horrifying people chasing you all day, every day, to come back to what really matters, connect to God or the God self or something like that. And but otherwise, I don't know culturally, unless someone brings the models through, like an encodings model and hundreds of other models through, how we're going to bring people to or back to the idea of asking the question of who am I really? Why am I here in this lifetime?
One of the answers, you're going to laugh and think I'm making a joke. I'm not. Is this show?
This show.
And the one we're on right now.
We're having this conversation on this show.
Because folks out there, you don't know, we say this to our guests before they come on. We have a little electronic green room time before the show goes live. And we say it's not a question and answer show. It's a bunch of friends hanging out in the backyard, talking about whatever comes up. Well, people don't do that anymore.
No,
they don't.
Remember people used to drop by. I mean, who's the Italian?
You were going exactly where I was going.
The Italian comedian, whatever that guy, I can't remember his name. He does this hysterical thing about the doorbell rings and everybody hides, because they're so, and they don't even know where the Sanka is. Nobody has Sanka anymore. Yeah, there's no Sanka. It's
we
over.
We grew up, all of us. Maybe Ben a little less because you're a little younger.
Hey,
younger. I said, not older.
I know.
Compliment.
He's giving
I know what the hell Sanka is.
No, meaning come over for coffee and cake.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I have invited people in the last several years over for coffee and cake, and their answer is, "What's that?"
Right.
And when I explain what that is, I'm going to make a pot of coffee and I'm going to serve you some cake, and we're going to chew the fat on whatever is in our heads and.
Yeah.
Right.
I can. Well, I think that. Well, part of that is I think that people in today's world they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of saying something that you're not going to agree with. I think there's a big fear in that, and I want to take this opportunity I wrote this down off of your page, Jeff. Okay, because it kind of hit me a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll expand on it after I read it. You wrote, if someone doesn't believe in you, don't try to prove yourself. Return the favor. Don't believe in them.
That was a reactive post. I wrote that a little while ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go a little bit deeper into that, because the word believe, if they don't believe in you, is the important word here.
I totally agree.
Okay. The replacement for that is agree. In my mind. Okay. If someone doesn't agree with you, you don't have to. But believe in people. So I delved in my mind a little bit deeper into it, and I wrote it down just so I could read it for our listeners and viewers out there.
If I understand correctly, you're focused on or noticed the importance. In other words, you and I don't have to agree.
Right.
But if I believe in you, that's what matters.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
what it is. That's what it is. My grandparents believed in me. That saved me.
Right. They didn't agree. They didn't necessarily agree with everything I did, but they believed in my capabilities.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the building of the self-concept right there. It is hard to do it. I had a best friend. I had a partner who seemed to believe in me deeply, and then it became automatic for me. I internalized the belief over time. If the person's credible, this is the key. They have to be credible. But if they're credible, then it can really make a huge difference, all the difference in the world. And then you just get to work becoming what you're meant to become, knowing that that's the foundation, and in many ways for your self-belief. And a lot of people don't have that. And to Jeffrey M's point, if you can't sit around and get to know people, like let's say I was looking for someone to believe in me without realizing it. Well, if I'm so busy trying to become a fucking influencer in some artificial construct where somebody thinks Justin Trudeau's interesting, but no one actually pays any attention. That's what that whole structure is. How do I ever reach the point where somebody really sees me, and therefore their belief in me allows me to move to the next level in my development?
I'm the luckiest son of a bitch on the planet. I've known since I was 2 years old exactly the gifts God gave me and that I had to use them. I always knew show business was for me.
Wow, rare.
Yeah. Well, I say I'm lucky. I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah.
But people assume because of how I dress or how I live that I'm somehow not what I am. I'm a very middle of the road person. I've always believed that politics works because you've got these two extremes and you drive down the middle, and usually driving down the middle solves most of the problems.
Yeah.
I'm not an extremist. You'd be amazed I won't go into any details about any political thing because I've promised we're never going to do that here. How many friends have dropped me because left or right, I don't plug into the extremism. Right. How many friends don't want to discuss anything anymore? And how many people?
Yeah, 100% on that one. 100%.
And how many people don't know how anymore? COVID, and let's not even get into how COVID happened. I'm not going to any of that. It happened. For whatever reasons it happened, it happened. And that year and a half where a lot of us didn't have any outside, I was alone. A year and a half, I had no human contact. No. A lot of people like they just lost the ability to do what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And to care what happens to other people. And you used the word to become an influencer. There's something wrong with that concept to begin with. You should be
organically. If it happens,
yes, you should be an influencer because you have accomplished good stuff that influences other people.
Yeah. You know what? They used to contact me because I was posting these quotes, and my pages just kept growing and growing and growing, and I would run ads and publish my own work, and the quotes would move. And so all of these people in the field would contact me. Some would book paid sessions to figure out what my secret was. So my secret was so annoying for all of them. My secret was write engaging things that come from your soul. And if you do that, people will follow you.
Yeah.
The problem is they couldn't write engaging things uniquely that came from their soul because they were so focused egoically on becoming an influencer. They didn't have a connection to their soul, like Justin Trudeau. It was all about having everybody notice whoever now it's Katy Perry, whatever. It's like needing that validation like a child stuck at a very early stage in their development. I wasn't there. These words came through me. It was like I'd have the moment, and then there would be the quote, even better than the one you quoted, which was I was in a raw reactive state. But it would just be there, and
Those are the best kinds.
Maybe, and I cultivated that, and
Right.
I wasn't thinking when I wrote that about how somebody would respond to it. I didn't know how they'd respond. I'd put it up and see how they would respond. But this is a very unique way of being in a primarily plagiaristic, imitative culture now.
Yes.
And that's why, Jeffrey, when you sit down to talk to the person about the things to do, to become, they're really looking for the simpler balm, not the thing that's going to require them to do work to become the thing.
And I must share this because I hope you'll find it amusing. And this is specific to my culture, but I think this happens elsewhere. I'm talking about the gay culture. And people put up little, on TikTok or websites and things, literally, and it's not one or two, it's hundreds and hundreds, little itty bitty videos of them shirtless and lifting up their arm as if having underarm hair is an accomplishment. That's how you're selling yourself? You have underarm hair?
Really?
What is wrong with this picture? But I think that's a wonderful encapsulation of the ego-driven, non-accomplishment, I want to be an influencer kind of thing.
Yeah.
TikTok videos of them playing somebody else singing, and they don't even lip sync properly. They just they go if they've accomplished, they've barely moved, and they think they've done something spectacular.
Right. So going back to what you said earlier, without going too far into politics, I get it. But, you don't know anyone politically you want to follow. It's because certainly the younger ones are all walking down that exact same path with trying to figure out a way to get attention for themselves rather than becoming something uniquely, personally, idiosyncratically. And when that happens, you may like it when people support you and applaud you, but none of what you create is dependent on that. That's the key. If I'm alone in a room for the rest of my days, I will create. I absolutely have to create.
As do I. Yeah.
Yeah. And it
all of us.
Not dependent on whether or not somebody else is going to, whatever they're going to do with that.
Right.
And it's rare. I do feel much. I mean, I'm glad to hear that there's four of us in agreement about this, because this is starting.
Well, I like how you brought up the room. I mean, I can sit by myself all day long in a room and be perfectly content. I'm not worried about having to impress this person or having to do this. I can make myself happy. Careful, Mr. Mark, and how you answer.
Mr. Mark, it was me that was going to say it.
We all went there, Jeff. We all went there.
I mean, I believe all four of us could do that. Jeff with the J down here, and myself are both poets.
Oh, wow.
We both write poetry. So, I could sit in a room all day and write and be perfectly content. We have a novel series, that's kind of off.
And most of that I want to throw. Most of that is not. It's not written for others to read necessarily either.
Right.
Got it.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've got 300 or 400. I'm just starting to put my book together because now I think it's time that people start to read how I lived.
Well, wanting people to know you through the creation process, there's nothing wrong with it. And the other thing is wanting to bring the work to the world as a service to humanity is fine too. That's different from wanting to bring the thing to the world in order to get attention from the world so you can take it seriously.
Right.
That's a whole different reason. And even then, as part of building the self-concept, Ram Dass had a quote, you have to become something before you become nothing. And, so you do have to sometimes, if you were not validated enough when you were young, go through some stages of attention seeking and all the rest of it in order to reach a place where you just don't give a shit anymore. And, that's part of the meritocratic process. And I think that's what's happening in the political world is, although I do like a particular Canadian conservative figure, but, we, of course, at the same time, I realize I have a very bad track record for picking political figures. Like, if I tell you the guy is cool, don't vote for him, right? Like, seriously. But coming back to the idea that someone who became something from nothing, really, really impresses me. It just energetically really impresses me, as long as they don't become an arrogant prick,
There, part of that conversation with this person was confidence is the sexiest thing on the planet, and it is necessary for accomplishment. Mm-hmm. Arrogance is the biggest bone killer in the world.
Right.
So, yeah. Right. Great. That's great.
Yeah. And I also want to get your thoughts on, we talked about the social media stuff and, the influencers and all of this kind of bullshit that's going on out there. What I see it affecting drastically is personal relationships. And I'm talking spousal relationships, people that stay together for more than a couple of fucking months.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I see people, they may last a week or 2 years, but the outside influence comes in and rips them apart in one shape, manner, or form.
The ass is always greener on the other side. That one.
I mean, I see a lot of that, I mean, it's, I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old. Wow. So I don't have that.
Beautiful.
That experience of why doesn't it work? Mm-hmm. I just don't see it. I because nobody's perfect. So accept people's imperfections.
Right.
Well, if you're looking for something called perfection at this stage of human development, you will bounce from one to the next for the rest of your days, because you're just not going to find that. I mean,
right. Well, the divorce rate in this country is the highest it's ever been.
It's it's over 50, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Is it close to 60 now?
We're inching up there. Absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, we want all of our friends and fans out there to buy In Trudeau's Kitchen, your new book.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Please do.
So can we talk for a moment about?
Let me jump in real quick before we talk.
Yes, sir.
For all our viewers and listeners later on, if you are interested, and you should be, in this book, just check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, because Mr. Brown's information is there. There's no excuse. Okay, let's talk.
And be aware if it's of any value. I'm considering writing a whole book about what's happened trying to get this book to the world after it's been published. So it hit number 1 on Amazon in Canada in the Kindle category. The price was immediately doubled, and the pre-order button for paperback was removed. And as far as I know, all the paperbacks that were pre-ordered were canceled. Last week, finally, the audiobook that I just recorded in New York, which I'm very happy about for this book, finally went up on February 3rd, started to move quickly on Amazon Canada, was immediately removed on Amazon Canada. So if you go to a bookstore, you might look on the computer and see it, but there'll be no price. That's all part of the game that's being played to keep this book from the world while this particular prime sinister is attempting to get a majority government. So please make a little bit more of an effort if you're interested in the story. The one thing I'll say without going anywhere too far into the political realms is that I believe it's essential that we, as part of getting away from this divide and conquer consciousness, back to that center that Jeffrey M. was talking about, to really appreciate that there is abuse of power equally or more on the left than the right now, or just equally, depending on where you live. And that if we don't get that, and we think it's only on the other side, they've got us. But if we realize people who are abusers of power exist in all of these realms, they often want power, whether it's left or right, communist, fascist, whatever word you use to call it, Stalin, Hitler, all the rest of it. To me, it's all essentially the same. And I think the contribution of this, if people are ready or when they're ready to move back to the center, is it gives them the information they need to realize that the left, my quote is, tyranny always masquerades as benevolence. And I believe that exists on both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. They always pretend they're here to help you when they're really just here to take something for themselves. And there are the rare few like Jimmy Carter that maybe, not knowing him, had a different intention. You know, yeah.
If you don't go down the center, you're not going to get all the pins.
What's the
right?
If you don't go down the what?
If you don't go down the center, you're not going to get all the pins.
That's it. Oh, that's good. Oh, did you just make that up?
Yep.
That should be in your poetry. That could be your first. That's good.
Yeah, that was actually. So you said something funny and you said something good tonight.
I can do that.
Have you guys been doing this together for 7 years?
Well, they have. I'm here for 2, but they've been here for the whole time.
I've actually known Jeff going on 40 years. We've been friends. We don't always agree. Actually, I think we disagree more than we agree, but we're able to take a step back, discuss it, and it's done.
And move forward.
I mean, it's that simple. Nice. And if more people could do that, the world would be a better place.
I think we call that maturity. The other day I was driving in Toronto, and there was a whole Iranian thing, like 300,000 Iranians were coming, wanting to free Iran. And I'm Jewish, and I love the Iranian people. So my marketing technique, just for fun, is we'd be going down the side streets because there were so many cars. I would just hold my hand out the freezing cold Canadian window and show this book to all of the different vehicles as they went by. So I get into a main street, and it pulls up to a stoplight, and there's a woman in the car, and I can tell she is, as I was, a very strong left-leaning progressive driving a very cool left-leaning car. And I show her my book cover. This is my version of, because I'm shadow banned, so I got to get the picture somewhere to somebody, right? So she gets so enraged. She's getting enraged. She pulls up behind me and takes out her phone so I can see her taking a picture, like she's going to call the police because they showed her my book cover. It's not in the criminal code, but that immature. It's the immaturity that's occurred. Now it's just like we're like, and not even children. Even children aren't that immature that we can have a disagreement and just keep driving without having to make trouble for each other. Oh my God. Oh my God. I miss
Well, the majority of people today protest things that they don't even understand.
They have no idea what they're protesting most of the time, but they like the outfits. They look good on the not so smartphone.
Yeah, apparently the signs are free.
Oh, Jesus.
I think you guys might have to do one political show just to get it all out of your system.
That could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
I think I would call in sick that day. I have a feeling.
Yeah. The reason that we've been able to do this show for 7 years with the caliber of guests that we've had is because we refuse to debate current politics and religion. Everybody has their right. Everybody has the right to believe what they believe for politics, and everybody has their right to believe what they want to believe for religion.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, and it doesn't mean that we can't agree on stuff.
Yeah.
So if we just keep that out of our platform, everybody's happy.
Well, and there's a number of shows that you touch on little things, and that's
right. Like
fine.
this was one of those shows, and I'll tell you straight out, and our viewers can hear that. Before we agreed to have this show, because I do all the booking, I spoke to both of my co-hosts on the telephone, and I said,
"Can we do this?
I know this is political. It's also Canada. It's not U.S. So we got to let people know there's more than just beer and bacon."
We could do a whole show just about trauma and healing and my vigil. We can
go like
left, right, who cares, all that stuff. But
the spirituality side of it's a whole nother show.
Well, Why did my soul summon this? I mean, oh my God. I mean, this is
Right.
But
I
speaking of Adrienne Barbeau, because I did notice in the beginning little trailers that Adrienne, far more important than any of these things, when I was 13 years old, I had a crush on Adrienne Barbeau.
Who didn't?
Yes.
Who didn't? Oh,
Yes.
well, Jeffrey Mark didn't.
Well,
Okay,
Jeffrey might have
sorry.
thought she was a nice.
And
cute
also,
lady.
Adrienne is a friend of mine, so I got to remove myself from that.
Well, no, because
Adrienne's
I
still
said who
alive?
didn't.
Is Adrienne still around?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Adrienne's
Yes.
still alive?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
How old
Yeah.
is she-ish? 70s?
Yeah.
Early 80s,
I
believe,
won't go.
isn't
I
it?
won't give you an exact number, but over
Yeah.
70 and under 80.
And
Yeah.
is she in pretty good health?
She's in
Yeah.
wonderful health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Say
had
hello for me.
Yeah,
Not that
no,
she is.
Jeff, she looks the same. Older, but she looks the same.
I saw
Yeah.
that picture. I was I can't remember what movie she was in. That I was. Do you remember what movie
The
made
Thing?
her? That's The Thing. That's what it was. The contrast between Adrienne Barbeau and The Thing was The Thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, she
it
does.
about to
brought
run out of-
out the breast to me. So
It brought out the breast of me.
I tried so hard to cut
Oh,
that off.
that's
I-
good. That's good.
I
I'd
saw
love to
that
write a book
coming.
about
I
her. It
saw
would
it
be.
coming down the track. I tried so hard to chuck it off. Nope.
Listen,
Jeff,
if
there
I wrote
is-
a book about her, it would definitely be a best-selling book.
right.
So we can do that forever.
But
Friends and fans, if I made penis jokes like this, we'd be getting fan mail about it. They make breast jokes. It's fine. Okay, I get it.
you can make all the penis jokes you want. I mean, if you were in Canada, it would only be about this big because it's like fucking negative 20 degrees.
Oh,
Not
that
when I'm finished
explains
with-
what's happening to me. Well, thank you. Actually, that's right. It started in November. Right. Absolutely. Listen, the thing about Adrienne Barbeau for me, it wasn't just that she was beautiful. It was that she had this kind of pure, I was always projecting purity on women. I was looking for the purest one. And for some reason, she was the purest projection I could find for, at least till Farrah came along.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Cool.
No,
Yeah.
it was
I'm gonna pull us back into something halfway serious before we go.
Okay.
You have one of the best vocabularies I've heard, maybe second to my friend Steve Allen, which tells me you're
Steve
very
Allen?
well.
Steve Allen?
Yeah.
The great, big, famous Tonight
Yes.
Show Steve Allen?
Close friend of mine.
So
So
he's still around too?
no, unfortunately.
Oh,
No, he and Jane are both gone. The question you're stepping on your own compliment here.
oh, I'm sorry.
You're-
I should give sorry to me. Right.
yes, this is about you now. You're obviously well educated. You're obviously intelligent. Have you, in your musings about everything we've been talking about today, been able to formulate in your brain or on paper or anywhere else, like one, and I'm not saying you can't do what I'm looking for, is there like one solution anywhere that you've thought about that, ooh, if I could sit down with government or persons or whatever, and if I could share this with them, it might make a difference?
Share anything in something in particular, you mean?
Yeah, a particular thought, a particular concept, something. We're all in agreement that things are kind of not going so well right now. What's in your educated, intelligent, incredible vocabulary brain that might help?
More weed.
Ben, your name isn't Jeff.
I have a Jewish liver, so that it wouldn't work for me, but it might work for some people. No, I think for me, it would come back to the importance of, and the thing I love most about the origins of America, or how I perceive the origins of America, which is this really strong emphasis on actualizing that which is individuated within you, encoding soul scriptures, I've called it, finding your soul shape, all those things, becoming exactly precisely those things you're meant to become in this lifetime, and finding a way to prioritize that governmentally. Whether it's an encodings cabinet minister, to really make this very specific thing part of the political narrative, so that it isn't just about vocation, so that we don't move kids in the direction of just picking the survivalist path that makes the most sense to join the union because of, and we understand why the parents did that and why all of that made sense in many ways. But to really bring it back to the idea that every human is brilliant, carries encoded brilliance. I believe that. I'm a real humanist, and I don't want us to ever lose that, and I want us to almost overemphasize that on the political and governmental level, so that we basically start celebrating the actualization of this thing we found, this treasure that is living within us, the treasure hunt of our lives, to find what's encoded in us, and then to figure out methodologies and systems and collective support structures like hanging out together to encourage people to actualize those things and keep becoming the next soul shape on their path. And to me, this is the only thing that makes sense to me that can possibly, there's all the things, work we have to do to clear the obstructions so we can do that. But I think this framing helps me to stay hopeful. And I absolutely believe it to be true. I have never met a human being who couldn't be more delightfully actualized than they are, because they have so much raw material still laying in wait inside of them. And the way we've organized our unconscionable capitalistic system, not conscionable, but unconscionable, is to exploit and make them generic and make them manipulatable. And so there's a war between the power broker, power over consciousness, and the service-oriented encoded consciousness. That's the war we're in, and we have to win that war in order to create a more encoded reality. And then it's unbelievable, the difference, I think, between what we've become and what we actually could become in this lifetime. And if you're in that consciousness, you just don't have time for all the nonsense. Because you never want to get that far away from your calling and everything that reflects it. Yeah.
You have to encourage more individuality, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's really it. And not from this sort of reactive, like the ones who are marching but don't know, somebody said earlier, what they're marching for or what they're marching against. To me, that's just sort of misplaced encodings. It's like they want to be of service, they want to be of use, they want to try to create a better world. But where do you find that? I mean, we haven't created the models and methodologies to do that. And so that when you're marching, you really know what you're marching for, and you really know who you are and why you're there, and how it fits into the timeline and soul line of your life. And so that just more conscious without being a head tripper, like in your body, conscious.
Yeah. Don't do something just because somebody told you to.
Absolutely. Simply put, yeah, exactly that. And, I think now that I understand how messed up we are politically in terms of nobody to follow, nobody even to walk beside, mostly, I regret in a way sometimes now leaving law, because the next step would have been, I wouldn't have wanted to be a judge. I'm too energetically active for that. Would have been to enter into the political realm and to bring these ideas into the political realm and empower people, to really, think that they're something, because they are something. They just don't know yet, Yeah.
Well, we are something. We are out of time.
I have one more question.
Yep, Mr. Holman.
Yes.
Any last questions?
I'm looking for your definition of Carmageddon.
Oh, that's my movie. Did you watch that movie?
No, I did not.
It's on Tubi. It's free on Tubi.
It's on Tubi. Okay.
It's wild.
I will be, but I'm looking for a definition from you of what that means.
Oh, I don't know if we ever did define it, actually. It was.
Well, you got it now.
I do. Yes. So let's say it would be the cumulative effects of a dark, negative, and unresolved karma that results in that particular film, a man named Bhagavan Das. So, there you go. He is, if you watch the film, you'll know within about 1.5 seconds, he is karma. He is karma. And we all can go that way, but most of us eventually we learn from our mistakes and we figure it out, and it's called maturation. But he loved hanging out too, but just so he could sort of figure out how to sort of transactionally benefit from the interactions, which is a very different motivation.
All right. And for all our viewers and listeners, that is on, you said Tubi.
Tubi. It's free on Tubi. I think it's free on YouTube. I think I have it up on YouTube somewhere, but they can watch it on Tubi. It is a you have to wear a tinfoil hat, or whatever Jeffrey M is wearing. But it's a, I mean, they're all the famous ones. Then Ram Dass, if you know Bhagavan Das, Sean Korn, David Permel, they're all in it, and I'm interviewing them, saying, "What do I do with this guy?" And the story unfolds very organically and naturally. And I smash foam cubes, and he hits on. I mean, the thing is fucking wild. It's a movie you could never make right now. They'd kill you. But luckily, we finished it in 2012 before all this crazy divide and conquer stuff set in.
Yeah, when I first came across it, which was today when I was doing more research, so that is on my list to watch.
Yeah,
it's on my list too, as a matter of fact, on Tubi.
Yeah.
But it would be so interesting if you ever do, to just for us to come back and talk about it, because there's so much to say about it on the question of spirituality, religion, morality. Is heightened spirituality trans ethical? I mean, that was sort of, not trans ethical, transcendent of ethicality. So to be careful. Now, there's just so much to say about this. It's
okay.
People love this.
Mr. Mark, any last questions for the amazing guest we have this evening?
Without getting into specific religious ideologies, do you feel your Jewish background has greatly influenced how you feel about these things?
I think fundamental to the Jewish zeitgeist is to question things. Mostly in the most...
That's what the Talmud's there for.
Yes, but mostly in the most absolutely annoying ways possible. Where you can't even agree on which restaurant to go to. And I was interacting with some Jewish guy today, and I asked him a simple question, and I just said, "Oh, I shouldn't have asked this question." So it's, so there's that cultural piece. But yeah, I mean, I think that my soul is Jewish. I'm an Irish Jew, and whether I like it or not. And I went to Israel for the first time in the last year, twice, and I went to the Wailing Wall, the Western Wall, and I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but it was the old city on the Western Wall. For me, was a remarkably profound thing. But I had a remarkably profound time with Jesus, and now I'm a whistleblower, and the Jews have turned on me. So I'm relating to all of what's went on in that old city. But sure, and I'm a relatively smart guy. My father converted from not being a Jew, although they say his father was Jewish, but he had really a very poetic Irish Gentile aspect. And my mother had that sharp, fast-moving, very practical Judaic mother thing. And I think I found a way to get them to finally get along with each other inside of me, because they certainly couldn't in any other way. But yeah, it's in my soul. It's in my compassion. It's in my depth of perception. And it's also in a lot of my inner conflicts. So, yes.
The definition of an Irish Jew: he has to go to the bar, and then he says,
"But I have a Jewish lover." Right.
You don't step on punchlines, my friend.
I stepped on a punchline.
I set up a joke and you dissolved it.
Oh, no. Let's try it again.
It's a joke I wrote just now.
Well, we have to try it again then. All right, go ahead.
Take two.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Take two. Definition of the Irish Jew: he has to go to the bar, and then he sits there and says, "Peanuts you're serving."
Peanuts? Oh, that's good. That's good. Like he's complaining already. Oh, fuck! It's exactly. That's exactly it. It's never.
I don't get it.
That's why it's a brilliant.
Done. It's
well,
just
that's why it's a
done.
brilliant joke that you stepped on. You see,
No. It's still brilliant, but it's true. Who said I don't never get it? Jeff?
No, he said he didn't get it, and I said we wouldn't get it. Neither one of us come from a Jewish background. They do.
Meaning that's all you're serving, because Jews, it's all about the food.
Yeah, and it's never good. It's never good enough.
Okay.
Peanuts you're serving.
Jackie Mason has a famous one. You too far from the door at the restaurant, too close to the window. Portions too big, portions too small, portions too hot, portions too cold. Fork is too clean, knife is too dirty. I mean, it goes on and on and on forever. It's exhausting.
His other thing was, after the theater. Jews? Epis, I could eat something. What do you want to eat? Chinese food, Italian? And then becomes a long argument about what kind of food they're going to go to. Gentiles. That was great. Let's have a drink. And that's the end of the discussion.
That's it. It's so much simpler to be a Gentile.
Let's have a drink. End of discussion. So,
but Jeffrey M., do you have any Jewish blood? I was wondering.
100%.
In fact, you're Jewish.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
No, but on both sides or one side?
No, I mean they took my foreskin away if they're lying to me. No, I'm 100%. I am 100% Eastern European Ashkenazi Jewish.
You're Yiddish. Have you been to Israel ever?
I have not.
No.
But I speak Yiddish, and Yiddishkeit was very much a part of Yiddishkeit is the Yiddish culture. Yiddish was spoken in my home, klezmer music, we kept kosher,
Wow. And do you know what's so interesting for me going through the last part of this journey with this book was so difficult? I couldn't listen to Jewish music. I listened to modern Christian music like Brooke Ligertwood and all the rest of these people because it just seems simpler. I didn't feel like I was getting pulled into a vortex of complexity. I had to find my way out of my Jewish comrade. And
I find Jewish klezmer music to be some of the most beautiful and sophisticated music. And the lyrics, the Yiddish lyrics are, because for those of you out there, our friends out there who don't know, Yiddish is a conglomeration of 8 or 9 or 10 different Eastern European languages, plus Hebrew, plus French and Spanish and English. And there are phrases and words in Yiddish. It takes a paragraph of English to give you 1 or 2 words in Yiddish. And that's why the songs are so wonderful. But it's if you like jazz, you'd like Jewish klezmer music.
Yeah, there was the Flying Bulgar something band. I liked them for periods of time, but I'm gonna explore it more, actually.
Look up 2 sisters, the Barry sisters, who sang this kind of music like they were the Andrew sisters. And their arrangements are great. And if you've never heard Yiddish or anything before, the feeling from it, all of you out there, just look it up on YouTube. Listen to a song or 2 and you'll enjoy it.
Barrie?
Why? Barry.
Oh, interesting.
Their name was Bagelman. They changed it.
I wonder why. That's to get in the country. It's to get into the school. That was to get into everywhere.
That was it on the Ed Sullivan show, but that's another story for another day.
Oh, that's a good story. Oh, thank you.
So,
thanks, guys. Thanks for talking to me today. I really.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. So now that the last questions were asked, I'm going to go like this, full screen. Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Where do you like interacting with your friends and fans on social medias? Like, where can they find you?
I think now I'm starting to like Substack. I have a Substack called the Enrealment Newsletter that you can access off my jeffbrown.co website. I hope one day to be able to enjoy myself on Instagram and Facebook again. And I am going to develop something else soon to develop and teach, ideally, the encodings method worldwide. But I will announce that on Facebook and also on jeffbrown.co.
Again, folks, you can find that information in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And one more quick question. If they're interested in your book, can they purchase that through your website?
No, they have to find it elsewhere.
Okay.
At this stage. But if they can't afford the book and they go on jeffbrown.co, there are 3 free chapters they can download. 2 with me and Sophie Trudeau, and then the conclusion chapter of the book.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have to hunt for it, folks.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, unless it does very well, and then someone will take it down for 2 weeks till I go crazy, and they'll put it back up again. But it's
not there. Keep searching.
There you go.
If it's not there, search again.
Yeah.
Just keep looking. It'll be there.
Yeah. It's only been out a while, so hopefully this will get more solid over the next couple of weeks.
Right. Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
To answer the question, Jeffrey Mark, as it is spelled below me here, or those of you who are only listening, GeoffreyMark on Facebook, Jeffrey Mark Showbiz at Instagram. And say, folks, do you want to hear me talking some more? We have another show, Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella. It is released every Sunday in time for brunch, wherever you are. Play the music of the wonderful Ella Fitzgerald, and I give you insider stories about how the music was made and the songs and Ella herself. Ben produces it for us, and Jeff sprinkles his love all over it. And Randy West, the incredible iconic announcer, is my announcer on the show. So please find us on all the same platforms and channels and places you find this wonderful show. And Mr. Holman.
Stilltoking.com. Stilltoking.com. Or Toking with the Dead on Facebook. You can find us there too. And for everybody out there, please, please, please keep your balls down the middle. Otherwise, you ain't going to hit nothing.
Nice. You're good. No, you're good.
And hi, Jeremy. We see you.
Oh, no, I didn't see him because I was already off that. Sorry.
Hi, Jeremy.
Oh, Jesus. So, in all seriousness, we want to thank Jeff Brown, that is, for coming out, spending some time, chatting about his book, and just maybe shedding some light on things that needed some light shed on them. You know, that's kind of what we do here. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can come up here and do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Have a happy.
Peace.